Hi guys, Olive here. Here today to talk to you about what books were your top books of Nonfiction November 2018. As I mentioned in my announcement video for the challenge this year, this is the 4th year that we have been hosting this here on Booktube. And I've noticed a trend over the past 4 years that there seem to be between 2 and 6 books that everyone is putting on their TBR. Everyone is talking about them. They seem to be the books of the moment. And so since I make a really concerted effort to watch every single Nonfiction November TBR out there, if you've made one, I have probably seen it. As I was watching all of your TBR videos, I was making a mental note of what books I kept seeing again and again. I wrote those down and came up with the top 5 books that I saw on all of your TBRs this year. I thought I would take a moment to highlight those 5 books in today's video in order to give you an idea of what nonfiction books people are excited about right now, maybe give you some holiday gift ideas for yourself or for others, or maybe even to help you start compiling a list of nonfiction you would like to read in 2019. So in no particular order, here are the 5 books that I have seen be discussed the most here on Booktube during Nonfiction November 2018. The first book is The Library Book by Susan Orlean. This is a fairly recent release written by the author of The Orchid Thief, and it talks about the disastrously destructive fire that occurred at the Los Angeles Public Library in 1986. The fire burned for more than 7 hours, destroying 4,000 books and damaging 7,000 more. Despite it being such a big incident, it received relatively little media coverage because the press was so focused, understandably, on the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. But now, over 30 years later, Susan Orlean looks into this fire. She talks about the details about it and also asks the very important central question: did someone set this fire? And if so, who? This is one that I've seen a lot of people pick up for the shelf challenge, since this is about a fire that took place at a library shelves. From all the reviews that I've been hearing, this is a really great one, and this is one that's made its way onto my TBR as well. By far, the most talked about book this month just went on to win Amazon's Best Book of the Year award. That is Educated by Tara Westover. This is Westover's memoir of being raised by survivalist parents in Idaho who were very skeptical of the public school systems. As such, they never sent their daughter to school, and Tara Westover did not set foot in a classroom until the age of 17. By that point, she had decided to take her education into her own hands, and through self-teaching, she managed to gain admission to Brigham Young University, and then went on to attend both Harvard and Cambridge. Obviously, achieving such a thing would require a tremendous amount of grit and dedication, but also courage to go against her family's ideas and pursue what was really important to her. This book sounds utterly fantastic and is getting amazing reviews. I can certainly see why people are flocking to it as much as they are. It's actually one that I have since gone on to encourage my mother to pick up, considering how many great reviews I have heard of this book. My mother was a special education teacher for 20 years and really enjoys reading things about the value of education, so I will be interested to hear what she has to say about this one. I've been on Booktube for quite a while now, certainly long enough to have experienced several times over this phenomenon that happens every so often, where everyone at one time, out of nowhere, decides to pick up the exact same backlist book, or a book that's been published a long time ago. It's not a new release. For whatever reason, every so often a backlist book seems to have a moment here on Booktube. I have never seen this happen during Nonfiction November until this year, when everyone seemed to be reading The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. Like The Library Book by Susan Orlean, this is a mixture of history and true crime. It covers the creation, planning, and running of the 1893 Chicago's World Fair, and is paralleled by the story of conman and serial killer Dr. H.H. Holmes, who was committing his crimes during the same time period. Funnily enough, I just read this book last month, and had I known it was going to have a moment, I would have waited until November to read it. True crime books in general seem to be really appealing to everyone this month, because I've also been hearing a ton about The Feather Thief by Kirk Johnson. This book is all about the surprising theft of hundreds of rare and historical bird skins from the British Museum of Natural History in 2009. This crime was committed by a 20-year-old American who was motivated by of all things, fly fishing. The author of this book first learned about this incident when he was fly fishing, and his guide started telling him all about this heist. He immediately became fascinated by it, decided he needed to learn everything about this incident and what has happened since, and in this book he tells that story. Being a bird nerd myself, this is one that is firmly at the top of my TBR now. And the last book that I have heard everyone talk about during Nonfiction November is Bad Blood, Secrets and Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup by John Carreyrou. This is the story of Silicon Valley startup Theranos, which was run by CEO Elizabeth Holmes, who at the time was being referred to as the female Steve Jobs. Her company promised to revolutionize the medical industry by making blood testing both easier and cheaper. Funding started to pour into the startup, but there was just one big problem. The technology straight up didn't work. All of the claims they were making were lies. The scandal that erupted once this information was revealed has been called the biggest since Enron. And this story also shines a light on some more of the insidious elements that underlie Silicon Valley startup culture. I've heard this one is riveting and I cannot wait to read it myself. Of course, there were many books that people put on their Nonfiction November TBRs this year. These were just the 5 that I heard mentioned the most frequently. But if you're looking for some more good nonfiction recommendations, some ideas of what to put on your TBR, do yourself a favor and search YouTube for Nonfiction November TBR. You can sort by upload date to get all the more recent ones first and have a great time watching them, because I certainly did. Or you can head on over to the Goodreads page for Nonfiction November and take a look at the What's on Your TBR discussion thread. A lot of wonderful books got mentioned there this year. But please do tell me down in the comment section below if you've added any of these 5 books to your TBR or if you've already read them. I'd love to hear what you thought of them if you have already done so. And please also tell me how many nonfiction books you added to your general TBR this month. I think I must have added at least 10 to 20. It's a problem. All of that or any other comments or questions you may have for me can go in the comment section below, or you can feel free to reach out to me on any of my other social media platforms. The links to all of my profiles are linked in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.